Standing on the top, standing on the top, looking down, down, down. They say how great you are, a superstar. But do you have any money to lend? When it all goes, where do the people go? I don't know. Standing on the top, treat her like a lady, like the cigarette that she smokes. What is the other part? Like the cigarette that she smokes. Help her with her coat. Treat her like a lady. She's a bad son of a gun. I can tell you I got one. Treat her like a lady. Treat her like a lady. Treat her like a lady. I'll still give out these high vibes. I'm not gonna go too long tonight because I got to get up early in the morning. I got to go work for Master Charlie in the morning. What can I do for you, Master Charlie? I'm watching this hockey game too. I was about not to come on. I've been watching this hockey. I watched both games of hockey. I watched the hoop game too, though. Right on. Give you that blue argonite, baby. Give you that, sending them blue argonite to everybody. All right, you hurt my shoulder. Ugh. Well, good morning. Good morning. If Super Sly is a hard act to follow, um, not only watched Super Sly for the last hour and a half, did a panel with Sub Zero. Maybe the other brother's name was L.A. Thomas, and I missed most of the Golden State game. I watched it, but didn't do any work on it because I was talking to them. So, but this is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I'm your super funky host, Big Pontiac. I'm the holder of the sacred infinite ball game created by the Hero Twins. And I am also your one and only galactic daddy-o, welcoming each and every one of the Chocolate Mountaineers to my galactic patio from Minnesota to the universe. And tonight it's an oldie but goodie. We're going back to the Alaskan amber. And look at these rich notes of caramel malts, and just look at them and you just think to yourself, I wish I could be him right now. You wish you could be me. Wish you could be me with this bottle and this cold beer. I don't think you appreciate it as much as I do. And we're still smoked out on the unicorn, Luca. And I'm sorry, pop them if you got them. And smoke them if you want them. I was sitting in my car with this, and the cop comes up to me and like, what are you doing? And I'm like, what does it look like I'm doing? I'm getting funky. And then he was like, well, I think what you're doing is illegal. And I had to pull out my Space Force badge. Like, look, Space Force, baby, leave me alone. I'm trying to reach it. Brother Lobo, what state are you in, Brother Lobo? What state are you in? Hey, Reginald, how you doing? Put me on some IPAs. Oh, my goodness, there are clown shoes. If you like IPAs, you'll love clown shoes, and they got several. They probably got the best art, too, beer art, but clown shoes. It's several of them that you'll like. Hey, Brother Lorenzo, what's happening? Hey, JR, what's up? Oh, you in Tennessee? Oh, you can get that Titan gear. You can get that Titan gear. Okay, bet. You want some of this Viking or Timberwolves or Wild gear? I just sent PJ, because he's in Ohio. I just sent PJ Timberwolves, second logo Timberwolves, and I sent Barbara. I sent Barbara Timberwolf shirt. So if you're interested in some Timberwolf gear, let me know. I get all that stuff pretty cheap. So my Conspiracy University got to send me his address because I got him this hat. I got this for Brother Sean in New Zealand, but he said he's moving. So, but I can get another one. I'm pretty sure I can get another one of these. So I was going to send that to Conspiracy, and it's, the Vikings. The Vikings in black with the stitching. It's a lot of work on it, though. I mean, this is a lot of work. That's a lot of work. But yeah, if you into gear like that too, let me know. That's, we each can get sweet regional gear. That's how I look at it. And so maybe you can get some sweet gear, because I wear it all. But I got some money on this hockey game, and it's 3-3, and they did a major 4-minute penalty to the Cavalry, so New York could score, or Edmonton could score. Super bogus, super suspect. Like I said, I ain't really have a lot tonight. Cracking up with Super Sly. That shit is so funny. It's not funny that the brother died, which I don't know much about the brother. I said before. Hey, they PJ Allen. Yeah. Y'all got Ravens gear. I could probably find it depending on what you're looking for. Yeah, pretty much Lids got everything. But yeah, it's because it's the Lids in the outlet, but the Mall of, like, the Lids at the outlet got 2 lids, and then the Mall of America got 3 lids. They got a big one, which is at the outlet too. So yeah, between the lids, you tell me what you're looking for. I can probably get it. I have to see. But yeah, we got pretty much. I almost jumped on that Baker Mayfield for shit. What was it? $60 just because I like gear. I like football stuff. It was getting rid of it. Somebody bought the Mac jersey. It was a Bear Mac jersey. Oh, okay, that's a little better. But Sly was right. When you pause these motherfucking Yetis, it click. You definitely hear it. Oh, and I'm chewing on the acid blondie. Chewing on the acid blondie. But yeah, I got PJ gear off early today. Him and Barbara's gear. So just we all gonna share. That's why. And PJ sending me some Memphis stuff back, the Grizzlies. So yeah. So that's that's just how we do it. Hats. Okay, bet. Yeah. I can probably hook you up with one. If I find a unique one, you got to give me your size. What size you wear? I mean, there's snapbacks too, but I tend to get fitteds. Like, that's one of the rare snapbacks I get. But what size? Lorenzo. You too, Lorenzo. You down in Mississippi. You too. What kind of gear you wear, Lorenzo? First thing first, I like the evidence Sly presented on the KS theory good critical thinking. What he was doing. It is. It is. I think he's the only one really touching on. He was probably hit. I mean, it seems like the cover story of a hit. I mean, remember in The Godfather, that senator to talk shit, talking about he'd never get the license and he was going to extort money from Michael. They set his ass up with a woman, killed the woman, you know, and it's just funny that they're there, you know. He's like, well, you're lucky that they called me, you know, because if they called the cops, your ass would be in jail and on the newspaper, Senator. And I've been around enough, you know, and I mean, it just makes you think of what they did to Sam Cooke. Rob Sam Cooke, drug him and robbed him, and he was reckless. You know, he liked to trick off with chicks. So that's what happens is if they know you like to do drugs or trick off with chicks, they'll exploit that weakness because they figure you're safe and you're comfortable, and that's the time they'll hit you, when you feel safe and comfortable. And as I said, in your 50s, still doing coke is if he did coke, you know, but that's even crazier. In your 50s, you just don't it just ain't good for you. What did Super Sly say? His girl told him for his 40th birthday, you might stroke out, and which very possibly could. I mean, hell, Len Bias, but Len Bias had that a higher grade of cocaine. Hey, Chiefs guy, do you think Aaron Hernandez really hung himself? No. Aaron Hernandez sitting somewhere else with face surgery. He's sitting somewhere else alive, laughing. They paid him. He played a role. He played the role of the shaman, dumb athlete. You know, if you looked at his whole career, look at all the stuff they came. You know, little neighbor was like, well, you know, me and him in high school used to get it on. You know, the shaman of the deceased who can't defend himself. What the hell is this? Like, ugh. So Bias had straight fish scale. Yeah, it had to be. I'm thinking, and that Brian Trimble. And as I said before, Brian Trimble did what this young lady with Kevin Samuels did. You wouldn't say a person's name. You wouldn't say any just because they got some notoriety. You would just say, come give me help. But I noticed Brian Trimble did the same thing. He's like, you got to come. You got to save him. It's Len Bias. Nobody does that. So that showed me that Brian Trimble, and as I said before, Brian Trimble was dating Vivian. And so I kind of knew the rap on him. Plus, Adrian Branch. People forget Adrian Branch that now does radio for the Lakers. He got busted in college on that campus or in Maryland. I think he got busted in Maryland. Because, you know, right there, part of Maryland's campus is like D.C., Maryland, Virginia. There's a corner that is all three different areas. You come to a corner that's D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, right? You right on like a corner intersection. But I think Adrian Branch got caught in Maryland. Because D.C. is technically Virginia, technically. The land that they originally took, the Mary land was that, but that was part of Virginia though. But yeah, Bias had what I was saying, like pharmaceutical, like Janis Joplin. They broke down the percentage of purity with Janis Joplin, and you just didn't see it. And you can find that easy. That's still out there with Janis Joplin. She had the purity of what she got was not normal. It was not normal purity. It was stronger than normal. And that's trying to say that's what fentanyl is. And I said with fentanyl, nobody would cut coke with fentanyl. Why? There's no benefit. I was watching some shit where they say, you know, it's kind of like a speedball. You put the heroin in the coke, of course. But I don't know. To make dollars, it just doesn't seem like a good cut. I watched a show on TV the other day. They was talking about that crap, saying that you know, that was the thing up in 2015, 2016. This is supposed to be dope where they investigate, and this stuff was so scripted. You know, I talked about that the other night. How scripted that kind of shit is. You got all these actors, you know. And I used to watch little dudes hustle. You know, like one dude would take the money, the other dude would give it to somebody else, and I would just look at spots and just laugh. I'm like, this shit is so funny. This shit is so funny. And movies copy that kind of thing too. But these dudes that I watched got it from the movies. It was like, you are all from one person. It was like 5 dudes did different moves, but they was all like it was an old gas station. And I just thought it was so funny because I was riding my bike or something and came upon them. And I was like sitting back across the street, kind of like in the park. And I was just watching the activity. And the shit was like, instead of one person going down, all y'all gonna go down. I thought that was rather odd. But fame is a dirty business. Blood sacrifice. I haven't talked about this the last couple of days, but we lost another family member. Now this would have been on the Russell side. The Russells I'm related to. My great grandmother was a Russell, and I've talked about my cousin is Michael Narda-Walton, and he's a producer, won a Grammys. His brother just passed last Saturday. He had went home to Kalamazoo and was just riding. It sounded like he had emphysema. And for some reason or another, he didn't get it treated because the person, I actually talked to the person that he was riding with, one of my friends. Matter of fact, he just sent me a picture tonight too. And apparently when he would ride, he had trouble breathing. And that sounded to me more like emphysema because all the weight would be here as you're sitting. And so he probably needed oxygen. And I don't know the backstory on why he didn't get help. That I don't know. I didn't know him to be a cigarette smoker. He could have been. He was probably, see, my cousin Ronnie has to be 4 years older than me. So he's probably 64, 65. He was his brother's manager for a number of years. He was Narda's manager. I mean, they put the stuff on Facebook, and he's got pictures with everybody. That's how Narda did with his mother too. His pictures with his mother, his father, his sisters and brothers, with group pictures of everybody. He truly shared his fame with the family. However, he had another brother that died a few years ago. They say he drank himself to death. Now, he was the tallest of all of them. He hooped a little bit, Ron. And Ron, I was fairly close with because, number one, Ron liked to hoop. And I was down at their house hooping every day. My dad hadn't put a hoop up, so I would go down there because they're my cousins. They live a block away. And their dad was like, anytime, because he knew that was my thing. And, he had daughters that was really finding his daughters. My cousin Yogi, my cousin Edie was at the house. And I think my Aunt Peggy was still there at the time before they broke up. But so he was like, anytime you want to hoop, you this your hoop. That's pretty much what he told me. He's like, this is your hoop. You ain't got to knock on the door. Because I'd always knock and ask, can I shoot? And he's like, don't ask, just play. Anytime you want to play with your friends, just play. So I knew Ron better because he was at the house and stuff. Narda and I are about 7, 8 years, maybe 9 years apart. So he left fairly early. He ran away from home like 15. So he left 15, 16, 17. And I think he ended up coming back to graduate and actually playing well. But there's 2 men in the family, his family, that died. Now, can't call it, can't call it. What do you think? What do you think God's kingdom would be like? What do you think God's kingdom would be like? Which God? I mean, that's really what question. Because we are creators, we are gods. Because we can create, we can regenerate. So which gods? Now, are you talking about entities? Now, when I talk about meditating and raising vibrations, a person put a beautiful chart up, and as I said, when you close your eyes and you mostly see in red, that means you were vibrating very low. Now I pretty much stand in the gold blue kind of realm. And the gold realm was enlightenment, which was kind of made me giggle, but that's what is around me. I mean, because this stuff, like, just because you meditate doesn't mean all this goes away. Like, the ethers don't go away. And so if your question goes back to say a type of heaven, that would always be around you. Oh shit, Edmonton unscored again. No. Oh, since I've been talking, they done scored twice. My money is trash. But anyway, so it would always be around you. So the type of heaven would be there as well. Whichever level you could reach would be there all the time. So that's the best way I could say. Now, if you blind believe in something, at first you will go to that. What you believe in, you will go to that. If that's what you believe in, when you die, that'll be waiting for you. If you have blind belief, you die, you will see something from that blind belief. I mean, that's how it works. But don't go into the light. That's all I got to say. Let me answer Lorenzo's question. I mentioned something about Dennis Sperling glasses. You said he kept doing something with his glasses while he had Kevin Samuels' mama muted. What's the name of it? Okay. As you know, I'm an ex-cop, and I've taken multiple classes. One of the first classes they taught us was interrogation. So I've taken 3 or 4 interrogation classes. Actually, I probably could still do that. But what a gross body movement is when you're looking at somebody and you're asking them to explain a story, a lot of times when people lie, it's called a gross body movement. And so what he was doing, he was doing something shady by Mutner. And so because he did something shady by Mutner, it made him do what's called a gross body movement. So if we was asking him to tell a story and all of a sudden he just starts doing this, or you see people do this, or you even see somebody, do their shoulders like that. When you're interrogating people, them is tails. Say card players know this too. Gamblers know this. But especially when you're investigating people, that's called it. Oh, it fell out. I sent this on it. I must have fell out. So that's what I meant by a gross body movement. He did something unnormal from what they was doing. That's what I meant. It's called a gross body movement. That's how you can see if people lie. If you're just talking to them and all of a sudden, when they're telling you parts that they feel secure and confident about, they'll just tell you. They won't be doing all this. But if somebody tell you a story or they turn their head or, they avert their eyes or they like move in the chair or something, you kind of know something's up. They being a little dishonest about something. They adding something. So that's what it is. That's what's called a gross body movement. Yep. Hey, Black Trunks, what's happening? I got to get to subscribe to your new channel too. Yeah. Now, and let me make sure I subscribe to this channel as well. I'm sorry if I haven't. People that have content, I try to subscribe to them. So remind me if you do. So yeah, that's what I meant by that. That's what I meant by that. Yep. Smooth, light-skinned guidance. Oh, man, but with that 4-minute major they gave them in the second period because they was down 3-1, and they gave them a 4-minute major. It was bogus because it was like dude poked his stick through playing defense. He poked his stick through. The defender was just kind of low, and him poking his stick through, he caught it. And he didn't really catch him. He was poking at the puck. That was bogus call. Bogus call. Now I missed 5. I see it's 6-3. I missed 5. I missed 1. The 5th goal minus as well being an open netter. There you go. Okay. There you go. Yeah, I ain't got my glasses on. I can't see. Hey, the United Drills of America, what's happening? Okay, that's your other channel right there. Yep. That's your other channel. Okay. Yep. So I'll subscribe to you. I'm sorry I haven't. I gotta have a backup channel too. Because when you do this and you get monetized, you work for these motherfuckers. So you gotta play by their rules when you work for them. I can't. I can tell. I can tell lies being still. It's funny. Let me say this. When I was going through my divorce, we had to meet with a drug counselor because they just wanted to, talk to both of us, see our backgrounds. As I said before, the first time they tested me, they said I was dirty. And I'm like, hell no. I quit smoking. I ain't do nothing but drink beer. I'm like, I know that's wrong. And I kept fucking with them. And they was like, yeah, they sent me a letter and say, yeah, you're wrong. We got the wrong specimen. It wasn't you. I'm like, you goddamn right, it wasn't me. So we meet with this counselor, and I've had all this training, and I'm just standing there. So it's like, well, did you smoke marijuana in high school? No. Didn't move, didn't flinch, And I'm reading the report afterwards. She kept saying, not likely, making judgments. But then my ex went in there. First of all, when my ex goes in there, her boyfriend and her had got drunk. And when she gets drunk, she gets aggressive. And she was fucking with him, so he broke her nose. So he punched her, and her shit was drooped. And so she has to go in there looking like this. And it's funny how the counselor was like, she was evasive. She wasn't making eye contact. She's looking away. She's moving. And that was her. And she started failing tests. So gross body movement. Also, he had a smirk. Yeah, he had a smirk too. Yeah, but you could see that the thing that I looked at, I didn't catch it the first time, but when Sly was saying about the sound, I was just looking at how he was moving. He moved different, and then he did the glasses. I was like, oh, right there. Right there. He's doing something different. So, yeah, he had a smirk on his face, too. How do you feel about Hebrew Israelites? I don't feel one way or another. They are not the Jewish faith people that we call them peoples, that's not them. I'll tell you this. The ultimate thing that they believe in is the goat. You can't deny that. This is what they follow. They follow the goat. And I'm not talking about the Baphomet. I'm talking about the horned god. That is who they follow. Now, to say this with some perspective and not just rush words out, I'm just going to say it like this. Part of what they do believe is actually right. I don't think people study ancestral production enough to realize that what they say about whose work it is and who the work came from, they're right about that. The sad thing is, but they don't have the original work. I don't hear enough of them giving credit to the Ethiopians because some of their Bibles and their traditions are older than them people's traditions. That's what surprised them when they went up in Ethiopia. They were still doing the traditions that went back to the beginning of the stuff. And as we know through Ancestral Productions work, they are technically right. That is melanated people's work that was plagiarized. Brother Bomber did a beautiful discussion tonight talking about the Nagas. He was pretty much saying it was the birds versus the snakes, which, okay, that's fine if you say that happened in Africa, but he had no answer for what happened in Americas. Because that's again going that everything that happened just happened there and nothing else was going on. That all creation and nothing else is going on, but you got these people in America. What's going on? What did I miss? Oh, the fifth goal. Yeah, empty net. Well, we got 3 minutes left. That money's gone. When we know in the Americas, they've been keeping track of time for about 1 billion years. They got the stellas with the dates going back. They talk about 1 billion years. So you can't say that all the creation crept up like that right there. So I disagree with that. That ain't the whole story. So to say, now I've got on them before because a lot of the Israelites have turned into being the American Indians, trying to take what they did is they knocked off them brothers in New York, the Red Pill and all them, that crew, Jabari, all them dudes, Sarnetta, all them Pan-Africans. But these guys still had their hands tied into the Hebrew stuff. And what happens is people put their life studying something, and when something else comes by that makes a lot of sense, but yet you have your allegiance to this blind belief, certain people can't say, well, you know, I can't throw all that work away. So they kind of try to smack the two together. That's why a lot of the Moors is trying to smack together being American Indians too. They're trying to smack that all together. And the Moors, if they be truthful, they know. They know. The Moors was able to come around the world too. They already knew. So the book is not the book that originally came out. Now, I guess if you take claim of it, okay, but it's still not, it's plagiarized work. And anytime you are trying to base your belief on plagiarized work, you're not getting the original words. You can decipher some stuff, but it is not the original words. I would say more of them should go to Ethiopia and look at them books. And then the translation, again, the translations is all not the same. So, Lorenzo. Okay. Hey, Conspiracy University, man. Picked up food today. The casino gave out food, and I was listening to y'all listened to 2 or 3 videos while I was sitting there because I picked up for 3 families today. And they hooked it up. I mean, it was like buku food. My trunk was full. They was trying to put some shit in my seats. I'm like, no, you're not putting that bullshit in my seats. Put that shit back in the trunk. Now I made sure to move my pickleball paddles. But yeah, I listened to 3 of your videos because I was a little behind. And great work. I mean, great work as always. And send me the email, and I'll send this hat out. I'll send some stuff out today, so I'll send it out to you. But yeah, great work again. Eben about to go up 6-3. Yeah, that's bogus. Still say it was the second period. That 4-minute major was tough. Oh, and then they did another period for the dude running into the goatee. Did he get another one? Yeah, he got another one. Missed. He had a breakaway. He missed. But they had a play where, okay, so that must have been when they got 4. When they got 4, it was a power play because dude ran into the goatee, and it looked like he ran him over on purpose. I mean, it really looked like he ran him over on purpose. Like he ran into him to get a penalty. So this will make this series tie 1-1. Originals are really Moors too. Originals are really Moors too. Well, you know, you got to really look at what Moors mean. Moor is an action, really. Moor is an action. Moor is being off the shore. That's Maureen. That's really what it means. It's an action. It's an action word. It's not really describing a person. You know, it's describing an action. But they knew. Now I'll say this: my people up in Boston was whalers, so they was Moors. The Moors was tied into the time walkers, but we were world travelers. Everybody did the northern coast, the northern way around. That was how they first came around. That's why they tell you to leave Erickson. But it's the opposite. The people came from here and went over there. Now the supernatural kind of stuff is they came out of them caves over in Africa, dressed in the jaguar suits, Quetzalcoatl suits, and they was like, and they could even come out of them pyramids, and they was like, how the hell y'all get here? So there was a lot of earthly movement. It wasn't just like, well, we don't know nothing about them. That's a lie. They knew about people everywhere. They knew them. They knew people everywhere. So that's another lie of history. Yeah. Send it. Yeah, because I haven't got an email from you yet. Yeah, send it to me, and I'll send it out. But you too, Lorenzo. Thank you. Give me your email. I'm gonna send some more stuff out. I get some gear, some Minnesota gear. Send out the Minnesota gear. I don't have no problem. I like sports gear. Whatever team, if I can get your team up here, that's cool too. It ain't got to be just Minnesota gear. I just like getting sports stuff, and I just want to share, with everybody that's been cool. That's all it is. Just share with everybody is cool. I mean, some of y'all live in places where it got crystals, and them crystals is grown near. So shoot, you might could turn me on to something like that. So, oh, you know that. Shoot. I like where I got that. I like the green, the hat with the green in it, and that jacket I got. Man, I wore it. It's cold up here. It's gonna be 41 tonight. I had to shut my window so my plants don't damn freeze. Cold, rainy, cold. It wasn't hoodie weather. It was like long sleeve shirt weather. I done shut all my windows. I just went in my bedroom. It was freezing in there. It's going to be down to 41 in May. We a couple weeks from June. This is unfair. We should be straight 70s every day, low of 60s in the nighttime. It's going to be mild tomorrow. When I go to work, it's going to be mild. Matter of fact, I got to keep track of time because I'm getting up at 7. I ain't supposed to go into 9, but I'm going in there at 8 with a full cup of coffee and a full belly. So I'm going in there at 8. As soon as they open up, I'm be waiting on them like, hey. And something I said I tell you, I don't know if I've mentioned this. I looked like Wednesday night, I went through 1,000 books. Excuse me, 1,000 books. Normally I go about 300 or 400, but we was unpacking books. So I went through about 1,000. The attack on young people's minds, as I said with my daughter, I think when she first came out, I really think it was a popularity contest. I just listened to the way she talked. Plus, I'm looking at society. I'm looking at the schools. I'm looking at the TV shows. But the books, I mean, you just have no idea the amount of propaganda that is out there that is attacking young people. Now, I'll admit, when I was in 7th grade, we learned about sex education and mostly disease. That's really what they was trying to teach you. You stick your dick in something bad and the shit'll blow up. That's kind of the movies we was watching. It showed some people like to have sex and they both blew up. Kind of scaring you. It's like, damn. And, I looked at it and said, that looks like fun to me. Teacher looked off, man, that's not how you're supposed to look at it. I'm like, if that's what it does to me, I'm next in line. Who's the girl that's got some shit that blows up? But now it is in so many ready-to-read books. And I don't mean, let me see, I don't mean these. I don't want nobody to say I stole these. They gave these motherfuckers away. I don't mean these, where you got to be in about 6th, 7th grade. I mean some ready-to-read books. Books like for 3rd graders, 4th graders. It's an attack, and that's propaganda. So you can be what you want to be when you're adult. I ain't got no problem with that. But that should not be in the schools like that. Disease, yes. Protection, probably. Because I'll tell you a story. A girl I used to kick it with, Rhonda. Rhonda got pregnant the first time she had sex. Rhonda a year or so younger than me. While pregnant, she was around a girl that had measles. Her daughter was born deaf. Her daughter's got to be in her. Oh, shoot. I bet her daughter's close to 40 years old now. What is this on me? But those kind of things school can teach you. You get pregnant, you got to stay away from certain things so your child will be healthy. So, and as she said, she didn't know. She really didn't know. So those kind of things I can see teaching people, but the propaganda is unbelievable. Annetta, you off tonight? Oh, you never had children? Yeah, you ain't really missed nothing. Headaches. The fun thing is beating them down when they're bad. Like, you deserve this. But that's okay that you didn't. That's okay. I know you still got love in your heart. The anime shows are the new programming for many agendas. Disney is the worst. Disney is the worst. Disney is the worst. The sensors all messed up. They are. I did my genealogy and traced mine back in the 1500s in England. It makes sense because my last name is Duckworth. Oh, wow. So was you related to Kevin Duckworth? We actually trace the Ampey family beyond around the 1500s in the New England area. Before they came over. The tribe I'm part of, that my family comes from, who James Ampey comes from, the Wanawapankins, I think is how you pronounce it. But yeah, before they came. And that is the tribe that they ran into when they came here. The Russells come from, we have some Cherokee, a Turner that was a Cherokee married a Russell, but the Russell came from North Carolina when my family, when James ended up marrying Dicey Heathcock, the Russell, when we all moved to Indiana and moved eventually to Michigan, they all traveled through there. Now the Bradleys come from Ireland. We've actually come from the Clark and Cameron, what do they call it? Clan. My uncle actually went to the city where the Clark Cameron clan come from. So on the Bradley side. So the thing I like about having a little bit of Irish is the Irish has always fought them peoples. They always hated and fought the British. Always fought them. Okay, bet, Lorenzo. Okay, cool. Bet. I don't bad issues with teams. I bet except the Twins because what they did to my Braves in the 91 World Series. See y'all tomorrow night. Oh, the worst calls of sports history. Dion would have been the MVP that series. The anime, yep. I don't want any children. You don't want children? That's okay. That's okay. If you had them or you haven't, that's okay. That's okay. I mean, we all have our own goals in life and our own mission. And some people's mission is to be parents. Some people's mission is just to be them, to be loved and be them. And that's okay too. So, because Richard Pryor said it, it's just hard enough being a human being. You got to get along with your lady and you got these children. It is hard. It's not easy. I mean, it is not easy. And so there's gives and takes. I mean, I was just thinking, I talk about before, some of the spiritual stuff ain't good stuff all the time. I've been put through the ringer, and you've seen me before. I have been in dimensions where they destroy everybody around me. And I have to watch, like it ain't no just one time. It's like slowly. And then other ones, it's like they take out a couple of them. And so it's like, I've already, what else can you do? I've been through it already. So what else can you do? Now, I've had some other insights. I know who's going to push on, but my daughter gets caught in that because my daughter has some stuff revealed to her. And so it's hard for her. Like I tell her, just because you can do magic, you can't let it stop you. You can't let it hit emotions. And that's hard telling a child. I got uncle named Kevin, but he's spelled with a K-E-V. I've been asked for that years. I couldn't even tell you. Now, my people on my mama's side said we're related to Kendrick Lamar. He's a Duckworth. Oh, okay. Because I think Kevin Duckworth passed, if I'm not mistaken. He's around my age or slightly older. I think around my age, though. I think Kevin Duckworth is a year or two younger, maybe, but not much. Okay. What's your take on the ascendance of Jordan Poole? Ascendant seems like he's came out of nowhere. Do you think Clay is gone next year? Rumor had he could be a Laker just like his father. I wouldn't put that past him. He's lost a step, but I'll tell you what I did like, even though the games are fixed. Soon as he came back, he made an effort on defense. He really made an effort on defense, which surprised me. He made every hustle play. I really watched him in that first game. And since he makes an effort on defense, a lot of times he's kind of undersized, but wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, his daddy, because his daddy started with Portland. I think Yeah, his daddy started with Portland before, and his dad took, I think, Bob McAdoo place, another 6'10" dude. Because, Thompson, or yeah, the daddy played here, him and Kevin McHale. And I think, let me see, yeah, because Kevin McHale is a year older than me. And shit, it was Randy Brewer. No, Kevin McHale is a year or two younger than, so Kevin McHale's maybe 3 years. So I'd have been a freshman probably when he'd have been a senior. So yeah. So Michael Thompson, yeah, about 3-4 years older than me, maybe more. Duckworth, Kersey's, yep. Duckworth, Kersey, and Robertson passed. Yes, they did. Very suspect. Could you elaborate on that? The Magic being emotional? Well, for a young person, what has been revealed to my daughter creates a certain emotion of loss, because she didn't just see one vision of loss, she saw a few. And so subconsciously, and it's been some trauma. Her mother's, her mother's father and mother are deceased. So that, and given with the vision she had, it makes her hard to let go of her mother, because she's already seen something that shows there's going to be a separation. So subconsciously, that makes her very clingy. And her having no grandparents, it makes her very clingy. And so what I mean by that is, you have to do magic, and you especially tell children, is because, they always show the dirty, the little naughty, the little naughty witch, or the little naughty sorcerer, doing tricks on people because when they're children, and then if somebody does them wrong, they get back revengeful. Well, it can't be used in that way. And so that's where the emotion would be tied in. You don't want to do a spell on somebody because you get mad, especially children that have these abilities. Now, not to say you can't get back at people, even at a young age, but you get back at them at their level. There are little things they could do. Like I've said before, my grandmother, even though she was Pentecostal, she was making sigils, in the windows. She's pouring down salt, and she just basically said, this is going to keep a lot of bullshit out. Like, oh, I was like, why are you writing on them windows? She said, this helps it too. And then she'd make the little dials, and I'm like, what's them for? She's like, well, it takes all this together to keep out what I don't want to come in. And she explained it easily as she could to me. And so so children have to learn that you can't emotionally use magic. It can't be emotional use, because again, if you're using on an emotional level, you're not using all of you. You're using that, that ego's out there pushing. So I hope that makes sense. But that's why I have to tell her, just because you have powers, you can't let it hold you back. Because a lot of times she kind of even, like what did I just do? So she has to let it flow naturally. And as she gets older, she'll be able to channel it a little, not channel, but bring it in a little easier. So my 7-year-old be freaking me out, saying things about certain dates and stuff. Yeah, I mean, listen to her, and you can even write that stuff down and see if it makes sense. But the separation thing, that's the biggest, with my concern with my daughters, that separation thing, because of the visions that came in. And it was more than one family member. And you just live. And let me just tell you, I'll say this about magic. What you got to really understand how the fates and how this works. It is to a T the way you have to do this thing. You know how the old video games would have a path and you follow the path? Remember that? It'd be certain video games that you just keep your character on the path. Magic works really like that. It's like when I park and when I go to stores, I do, where I go, I see the path. I don't know how you can feel this, but it's like when I get out of my car, I do things pretty much the same way. It's like the way, because I went in the grocery store first, and it's the way I cut in, because I hate going in the mouths of stores. If there's an opposite way to go in, then just straight into the store. If there's like a sideway entrance, because the mouth, they feed. Remember Ghostbusters with the women? They showed the creatures on top of that'd be attachments. And really, attachments can kind of jump on your back. I've talked about this many times where, you go into the mall and you ain't mean to buy shit, or even go into any store and you buying shit left and right. You get attachments that will have you doing that. And you'll look back, it's like, damn, I didn't mean to spend all this. Because spending, that's the same endorphins that get you high. Buying shit can give you that. And you just sit there. But that's why really before you go, like I've said before, when you go out your house, before you go out your door, you got to pause. Don't just go out the door, because that ain't how magic works. You want everything to be with you. And if you rushing out, everything is rushing. It's just like a trail. So before you go out your door, you got to hesitate. Once you get outside, you hesitate. Before you go in a place, you hesitate. You just don't rush in, because that's just, you want to keep the energy here. You don't want the energy, shattered. That makes sense. Yeah, Michael Thompson played with Portland the longest. Yeah, he came with Portland. I remember that. Yeah, because I followed him when he played. He played Big Ten. He played Big Ten, so I knew about him. Playing Michigan, playing State. Kevin McHale too. I like Kevin McHale. He has some of the best fundamentals. He never brought the ball down. They'd always feed him here, and he kept it there. He was never one to, like a lot of dudes, get the ball and had to bring it down or have to take the bounce. Kevin McHale, he had the best fundamentals of a big man catching it, and he always kept it. He would turn even up here. Great fundamentals. I remember I asked him about that. He just laughed. He said, well, I just played a lot of one-on-one, and I just knew the guys that I may have not been as quick at that point as I was developing, but he said, I just noticed I was bigger than a lot of people, so if I kept the ball up here all the time, they never would steal it. So he said that's how you develop it, playing one-on-one. When he bring it down, they'd always steal it. So when he would get in position, he learned to keep it up. Cool guy. Kevin McHale's a cool guy. I sat with him a few games. Our sons played against each other. Those dates she remembers from her personal experience. That's very possible. That's very possible. Yeah. The story of my life. Yeah, that's very possible. I sit there and write that stuff down, make sense of it. That I knew of. He recently told me the apocalypse was happening in July 17th. I questioned him for days about where he heard that. He couldn't say. Interesting. Wow. Might be a day to look out for. Let me write that down. Because apocalypse could mean a lot of different things. That means it's like they trying to tell you that the military aliens about to show up. Kevin McHale. Oh yeah, Kevin McHale was nice. I mean, it's sad what he did. If Len Bias' death hurt anybody, it really hurt Kevin McHale. And I mentioned this last week. If Len Bias doesn't die, Kevin McHale doesn't have to play on that bad ankle. He can take off that bad ankle, but Kevin McHale comes from my generation where you play hurt, and he still limps today from destroying his ankle. He still he still walks with a limp, and that's from Len Bias passing, because Len Bias would have taken a lot of pressure off him. Len Bias would have taken a lot of pressure off Larry Bird. That's creepy. Not creepy. Just he got some insight. And so write that stuff down. Kevin got a raw deal while coaching in Houston. He was just good. He's better than Dan and Tony. He said it. He said it. What did Beverly call Paul a cone? James Harden, when he was scoring 30. When Kevin McHale was there, Kevin McHale was breaking down the film. Like, what are you doing here, James? You being a cone, not guarding, not even trying to guard, looking to cherry pick. That was his early career when Kevin had him. He wasn't playing no defense. He was the man. They gave him the keys to the building, and Kevin was breaking that down. It's like, you're not going to play no defense? I know it's script, but damn, stay with somebody. I mean, he ain't a little dude. He's big enough to guard people. He's 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". When did Bias die? 86. 86, because 86 was the Doom draft. Chris Chris was from Hickory, North Carolina. Washburn. Chris Washburn was in that draft. 6'11" dude, never really performed. That was the doom draft. Look at that draft and look at what dudes did. Chris Washburn had a lot of potential, but he, had that hood mentality. He fronted the dude some bud. The dude didn't pay him, so he went in his room and took his stereo equipment. What do you think the European dude gonna do? He ain't gonna tell that he owes bud. He told this dude stole my stuff. So it wasn't very smart. Here you are about to get all this money, you getting in these petty trouble. Royce White did, petty thief here. He's going downtown Minneapolis, is it DeMatha? I forget it, but one of the, you got to pay schools. One of the top schools in the state, you got to pay. It's not DeMatha. Can't think of it, but it's downtown Minneapolis, right on the Mississippi River. That's where Royce went and won 2 championships and stealing, got booted out. Went to Hopkins, won another state. When Tubby was up here coaching the Gophers, Tubby brought him in. He had hit Rodney Williams and he had Royce. And Royce got caught stealing a laptop. Now, let me tell you a story from the 60s. I had a friend that was I ain't gonna say he was a friend. He was an older dude I knew. He was my parents' peer. Great athlete. Played basketball at Western Michigan University and baseball. But the dude was a kleptomaniac. It was so bad where they set him up. The Kalamazoo police came in and they watching him and put a purse where to see if he'd take it, and damn if he didn't take it. This is some shit they did to a dude in the 60s. And he still played, he played a little while for the Tigers. He was in the Tigers back and forth, the farm team up with the Tigers back. He was a long-time Michigan referee, but a great basketball player, great athlete, but for some reason, they used to say milk. I read a study that said drinking cow's milk causes people to be kleptos in some ways. Because I wasn't raised poor, but I liked to steal as a young man. And I don't know where that came from, but I just liked to steal. I'd steal books and shit. I was never like stealing bikes and shit. I told the story, and this is one way I really should have got caught. I told this story before. I was hooping up at Western Michigan University, and I was leaving, but the way I think I parked, matter of fact, I don't even know if I drove. I might have caught the bus. I think I even had to catch the bus home. So the way to catch the bus, I had to cut through where the main stadium is, and so they had indoor track. And the dude had a sweet Notre Dame was part of this indoor track meet. And it had like the Notre Dame little leaves like here and big Notre Dame there. And dude, I was like standing on the stairs coming out, about to walk away. And dude threw it right at my feet. And I picked that sucker up and I walked out and wore it to school. Do you know how much trouble? If they would have pushed this, look at all the schools. It was a young guy. I could have easily got caught. Because I remember my high school basketball coach like, where you get that from? Because back then they really wasn't selling shit like that. They really was. It was funny how stingy the school, especially high school, was stingy about wearing their shit. I mean, it really wasn't. They didn't look at wearing high school shit as a moneymaker back then. None of the stuff. They didn't give us anything. The only thing we could buy was our varsity jackets, and the shit was ugly, so I never bought one. Shit, our colors was like maroon here with white leather. I mean, it was the ugliest thing with the big KC here. That shit was ugly. There was no way I was gonna buy that ugly shit. Yeah, the 86, 87 season. Yeah, the class of 86 though. Look that draft up. Hey, researcher. Townsend. D still died of a cocaine. D still died of a cocaine overdose. Wow. Takers, them Jack boys. That's why, robbing dudes in the drug business, it wasn't shit. It just pulled up, That I had no problem, especially Mark. I had no problem robbing Marks. That's just part of the game. Been shot at. Shit, got clipped a little bit right here. Shot a part of my little arm off here. Got stabbed right here. Sliced a piece of my arm off. I had to have about 30 stitches here, if not more. So I got stabbed here with a razor, didn't even know it. Didn't even know it. I had like a silk shirt on, and it was like a light, trying to think, light pink. No, that's what it ended up looking like. It was like, it wasn't all the way white though. And all of a sudden somebody was like, why is your arm all reddish or pink? It's like the body didn't look like my arm. I'm like, I don't know. And somebody had walked by me and just hit me with a razor, sliced my damn arm open. I don't know who did that to me. I was at a party. De La Salle, there you go. Thank you, Michael. De La Salle, yeah, that's it. Yep. That's where Royce played high school. Yeah, De La Salle. Yeah, De La Salle. Thank you. Yep. Yep. Oh, R&B, the R&B singer D Still. Okay. Yep. Royce went to De La Salle. It's a dude in the NFL from De La Salle. He played quarterback in high school, and he hooped too. Where does he play? I want to say he went to Alabama, but he didn't play quarterback in college. But he's in the NFL. I had to think about it. But it's a guy that from here that's in the NFL from De La Salle. Yeah, it's right downtown on the Mississippi River. Yep, that's where Royce went. Thank you. Yep, De La Salle. Thank you. Man, you might be the future me, Unc. Marks the Beast ones. What they gonna do? You might be the future. Marks the best ones. Yeah, we're gonna keep going at them. We're gonna expose them, and really, this is the aim. The aim is spiritually to raise people, because it is stupid to try to raise people in this physical. You can't. There's too many sleep minds. The too many sleep minds weigh the heavy minds down. Because a lot of times we have people around us that are, the sleep minds and the heavy minds, the minds that believe everything they see, everything they read without researching. My face is always in a book. Like if I'm watching the game, I have something else going on. I have a tablet, I have a computer, I got a bunch of shit going on, and I got a book on my lap. It's never just watching the game. I'm kind of just up and down, back, and just seeing it because it's bullshit. The games is bullshit. And so I try to catch the plays. And I saw a couple plays I could have caught this evening. I was on my man's live, and I was like, I'll just stay on the live. So, but I get to the point where the sports, I've shown that it's corrupted. So, how much more can I show? I was telling D Still that Len Bias died of a cocaine. Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that's how he died. Cubs D-backs had a total of 11 home runs. That's an indication that baseball is juiced. That's a good point. Or they giving up gopher balls too. Or they giving up gopher balls. They can give up gopher balls too. They can hit anything with the gopher balls. It's a period where they call it dead ball days. Before Babe Ruth came, it was the dead ball days. That's what pissed Ty Cobb off. Ty Cobb's like, the game ain't about hitting home runs. The game is about moving people and stealing bases. Oh, and I brought this up before. It's funny when people, and I'm going to tell you, it's funny when people hear these names and they don't realize these people work for them. It was like, I was telling the brothers, they had never heard that Malcolm was an agent. They was like, wait, what are you talking about? I'm like, Malcolm tell you his education for a foster child was better. But I've met several players, and I've said this before. In '86, I sat with Malcolm's brother in Battle Creek. I'm pretty sure he was a veteran, because Battle Creek was nothing but, it's a VA there. And so a lot of people's businesses is keeping these, keeping veterans as they get older and need help. And he lived in one of them type of homes, and nobody would go see him. So my dad, we was just riding. He just like, Malcolm X's brother here. I'm like, where? I'm like, take me over there. So we went to see him, and I would go see him and talk to him. So a lot of this stuff comes from these conversations. He was telling me, because remember, his brothers woke up before Malcolm. They were trying to tell him, hey, these dudes ain't, in your favor. And Malcolm was still, he learned a little late. And then very, very similar to what happened to Brother Kevin happened to Brother Malcolm. The same people because you mess with them, we'll take you out because they figure you in their pockets. And the government be the same way. We need them to make so much money, and you're turning people to the good. We can't have that. We can't have that. Because what Malcolm said is we're gonna be real Muslims, Sunni Muslims. The government really didn't want to have that. Remember, that's what Jabbar was. Now, I read a Ebony thing on Jabbar, and they asked Jabbar what he thought about Muhammad Ali. And he was like, well, I don't really know, because what he does not practice Islam. That's what Jabbar said about it. He's like, he doesn't practice Islam. What the black Muslims ain't Islam. I am a Sunni Islam. I'm practicing what the man practice. Wasn't gonna hit my guest host, my sidekick, nobody's fool. So oh, here we go. Shadow Dweller, how you doing? Yeah, I can only tune into a basketball game for about 2 quarters tops. After that, I move on. Yeah, I watch just to get moments. Just to get moments, just to see how the flow is going, how the money's looking. That's what I do. I'm waiting for Malcolm's file to come out. Forget the secret MFK file. Malcolm got the real sauce. It should come out. I mean, it's funny how Samores was like, wait a minute, what's your proof that I forget the other dude, Farhat, I think was Farhat was the one that they said created Islam. The black Muslims was a white dude, white Arab, was the one that really created it. And both of them was with Noble Drew Ali. Both of them was part of Noble Drew Ali's movement. Poe got out of jail. They went to Chicago. Him and that Farhat dude went to Chicago. When Noble Drew Ali got taken out, they moved to Detroit, set up Mosque number 1. Then they went back to Chicago, and I think it's Mosque number 2 or 3 in Chicago. But that's how it started. So they already saw what Noble Drew Ali was doing. And like Marcus Garvey, people talking about how much they love Paul Robeson. Paul Robeson made fun of Marcus Garvey. Watch the movie Emperor Jones. This is an old ass movie from the 30s, I think. But they making fun. He's making fun of Marcus Garvey. And rightly so, because Marcus Garvey was trained by them peoples. All that, Marcus Garvey was also wanting to take people back to Liberia. That was part of it, taking people to Liberia. And Marcus Garvey wasn't a good manager of money. They claim he had $10 million back then, which would be worth damn near $100 million today, something like that. Maybe $1 billion. He's a micromanager and didn't have good people around him to watch that money, because that's how they want to get you. But he worked for them people too. He has a beautiful speech about, melanated people in getting in tune with nature. That is a great speech of Marcus Garvey. I'll say that. But if you look at his education, he was educated by them folks. Oh, this picture right here of Malcolm doing this. Where do you think that come from? That's a Mason pose. Yeah. Masonic ring. But he doing this too. So that's one of his most favorite pictures. He's doing it. And there's another one with King. King is doing like this, wearing a Rolex. Y'all seen that one with King? King is sitting back in the chair, and you see that big ass Rolex on his arm. He got an old gold one. But King is doing like this. And if you look at his wrist, because it's like he's got the 60s thinner cuff, and then he has a Rolex on, but he's doing the Masonic pose, but he's sitting back kind of like this. His arm is something like this. But look at his wrist. He's wearing a Rolex. Back in the 60s. And that was back when the Rolex was in the hundreds. They wasn't even in the thousands back then. That's all gold. But that's how, how much they cost. We got to fight them peoples. We got to fight the peoples. Finger to the temple. Yeah, the finger to the temple. Well, I think we got to spiritually fight them, really. That's the only way. Because physical, they care about this. They care about this. Their power's here. And the more spiritually people we can raise up to a higher vibration, it melts. That stuff really, they melt off you. They melt off you once you raise it. And You know, when I read the Time Walking Papers, when I say it all starts with a gentle sadness, it really does. It really does. It starts with a gentle sadness because that's what grief is. Grief is that gentle sadness that a piece of you comes out. And I ain't saying that ain't real, but what I'm saying is it's a way to understand it as a natural movement. And so it really is not a piece out of you, it's a piece preparing for you. Because yes, our ancestors are all around, but the ones that have left the closest have in some ways more of an impact. Like my grandfather, my brother called me, was like, man, you know, grandpa's up in the dream. I'm like, he came to me a few times and I would have never figured my grandfather being a spiritual person. Shit, they say my grandfather might have killed a dude. My mother's senior year in high school, her father was on trial because her grandfather had, my grandfather and his father was playing cards with this dude called Bill the Barber. And one of them killed Bill. Now, my great grandfather took the rap, but the word was my grandfather killed him. Because later, my great grandfather said in prison that really my grandfather killed him. So my grandfather wasn't no slouch. And he was a short dude. He was World War II veteran. He was my grandfather was in 2 ships sank, and this motherfucker couldn't swim. My grandfather could not swim in the Navy and was on 2 ships that got 2 destroyers. We found a picture of one of the destroyers that got sunk. And the same racist white dude saved him because he couldn't swim. But that just shows you the will to live. Agree. They can't sustain a high vibrational stance. That's, yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, I got to go. I do got to get up early. I really wasn't even going to come on, but I got to get up early. Who is this celebrating? Oh, baseball. Like Lorenzo showed, Lorenzo showed a combined no-hitter and you lose. I watched that shit. I was like, oh, they got to be kidding. So I'm not going to do a divination. Sorry. Don't have it all set up. I think I read everything. I made a few notes, but I think, okay, I got everything. Yeah. But yeah, guys, send me the emails, hat sizes, and, you know, give me a minute. I'll send the stuff out eventually, but I will. No, I'll send it out. So, so closing with the Time Walkers, Mora. It all starts with a gentle sadness. They came from their original homeland, and they knew that they had exact number of years and days before they disappear as a culture and a lifestyle. But then the civilization would build to a gentle love. They lived in the Creator's day and knew how to separate cycles and the Great Serpent. And that's it. You know, our Milky Way, the Great Serpent. They were showing some beautiful pictures. Montana, and where you could see the galaxy. You know, you could see the Milky Way, you know, the stars and the planets that's coming by, and you can actually see our galaxy. So, you know, you can transverse some of that. And, you know, I like saying this, and I hope you like the vibes. But again, as you rest tonight in your creation ball field, and that's something else Brother Bomber don't talk about. The ball field is playing creation. How do you put that in with the birds and the serpents? Where does the creation ball field come in, baby? Where do the hero twins come in that? The hero twins talking about the underworld? Where they come in? It ain't just that shit. Ain't just that shit you talk about as creation. It's the hero twins talk about creation. The Mayans talk about the Omen talk about creation, baby. So it ain't just that shit. But as you rest well in it, know that everything you brought into your house is enough to protect you. You don't need anything else. You just have to activate it. So if you're feeling blue, ask the stuff in your house. You can even ask the house, apartment, whatever. You ask that. Lift me up. I mean, you sit around, look at all this shit you brought in there. Ask it to lift you up. Pictures, colors. I mean, all these things should have this effect for you. That's why you bring it in because you like it. You have salt lamps. Ask them. I know Read My Soul has a salt lamp. Ask it to activate. They're a little stronger with sugar next to them, but ask it to activate. Because these things will keep you spiritually safe because you put them around you. So there's magic. We're magical beings. So it's not hard to create that kind of magic, to generate that kind of magic is not hard. but you have to make the intention. You get bothered with your dreams and stuff, you have to make that intention. So those of you at work, may you go through your shift smoothly and safely. And when you get home, may you get enough rest so you can go on. If you got to work tomorrow, that you have enough energy to go on and be your best. May you travel home safely, because that's magic too. That's magic too. Sister Tasha told me she had 3 accidents in 3 weeks. I'm like, Tasha, do this. Do a metal repelling spell. That's all you got to do. And that shit will kick, because you can attract metal. That's why some accidents happen, because you attract it. And pay attention. But really, it's like I have a simple unattract metal spell. I'm repelling all metals, because everything comes from Earth. Because I've talked about before, I'm sure all of us that drive have been like, hey, don't, I know I can't put no gas in you right now, but get me back and forth. And on the way back, I'll cash my check and then I'll get you some gas. But I need you to get me back and forth. I know you got a couple miles in you, and the cars perform. Or you like, don't break down on me. Just take me to this spot and I'll be great. I've had cars do that for me. Car took me to a job interview, broke down at the job interview, but it got me there. Got a job, made a call, come get me. They was like, what you gonna do with that? That motherfucker sit there. But it helped me. It helped me make money. So rest well, everyone. This is the Chocolate Mountain Show. I am your super funky host. I will be on tomorrow unless I'm terribly sleepy. I'm going to be entertained by Super Slide 2. Shout out to Sub-Zero. Thank you for having me on. To have a debate. That's all. Have an intelligent debate. That's all. Because I think he was thinking I was attacking him in the speech, but it really wasn't. Then he's like, sometimes, it looked like people messing with me, but when we talk, we end up being cool. And that's all it is. It's like another ally. That's all. I'm not just on attack. I was like, you just think about these situations. That's all. You want to hear it? Watch it. I put it in my comments. I shared it. So you want to check some of it out. There it is. So yeah, this has been your super funky hero host. I'm Big Pontiac. And till we meet again, say less.